we just shooting like and at some point.
Okay, thank you.
I never really started.
I was on the
All right, it's fine. I'll wait. I think it's not skipping. It's not, right? All right. You're good, right? And I'll the title and everything. All right. Hey, everyone. All right, so we're gonna start this little workshop. Mic check. Mic check. All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to start this workshop. We're going to talk about collaborative media today. Before we start, I'm just going to give a brief history of how we got to this point, of what we're trying to do. So during occupations, I'm Vlad, and I'm not going to be the only one speaking today, thank God. Matt is actually going to explain a bit about how he is combining certain things to create a new type of media out of the stuff we've been working with before. But that's going to be more like application of the model. So I'm going to briefly give an overview of sort of what we achieved during Occupy in terms of media and some of the challenges we faced as we were doing stuff. So obviously there was a sort of a revolution with our ability to broadcast stuff in real time, to create like a real-time narrative that was very truthful, unedited, of what was going on, and we used it to great advantage to further the message of what was going on, to a point where mainstream media was no longer able to manipulate the truth, at least at the moment when things were happening. So from the perspective of how we looked at it, we won the battle for the zero-hour coverage. They couldn't lie in real time about what was going on. However, they evolved. The mainstream media people, they've evolved. They realized that we're not exactly engaging them at the moment when the articles are written. Now, sometimes we are, in terms of like sometimes some of us write great articles and we get them out in time, and they can counteract the mainstream media story. But a lot of the times we get them out too late, if we do. The articles come out a day after, and the edited videos come out a day after, 2 days after things happen. And at that point, the paid hacks got to write the story, instructed by whoever we're instructed to frame what we're doing, what's going on in the way that's beneficial to the corporate interests. So the reason that we're doing that is because we're actually not engaged in the game to some degree. We were so preoccupied with getting the stuff out in real time that we're too burnt out to actually very often to create a coherent contextualized narrative going later. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is actually how we can get from this real-time thing, which gives us a lot of power, and combine it with like the more contextualized stuff that needs to come out in order to fully engage the mainstream media in the next battle, so to speak. So on the fundamental level, this is how it breaks down. We are getting a lot of information coming from the field for every single action. The people live streaming, the people tweeting, da-da-da. And so I was part of the collective called Global Revolution, and we were trying to mix this stuff and contextualize it in real time. And we did it for a year, and we covered pretty much everything. But from personal experience, and there were like 20 of us working in this, we could not stay on top of the stories really. We could restream what was going on, but we didn't have enough information about everything that was happening everywhere to actually explain it well, or to give it the proper context. So the way we first battled that problem is we started teaching the streamers to narrate well. And a lot of streamers started doing amazing narrations and built up their own followings and their own, like they became like amazing narrative journalists when they were streaming. There was still a limitation with that because they would go out in the field and they would stream an action that, let's say, go for 4 hours. And they'll talk about what's going on, they'll give a great narrative, and they'll repeat like every 40 minutes the background and all that stuff. But still, at the end of the day, for people to watch it, the audience to watch it, in order to understand what was going on, you have to watch the thing for 4 hours. And people don't want to watch TV for 4 hours. They want a more condensed thing. So we're still gonna, there's still a lot of value in real-time broadcasts, but the problem is we're not reaching a lot of the audience we should be reaching who don't have time to watch the live streams. And because things are happening all the time, non-stop, we never have time to stop and edit the stuff and put it together into something and release it for people to process later. Because the people who are doing live stuff, they're already covering the next live stuff. It just never ends. So based on all that, we started figuring out how do we deal with it. Another problem that we had is that people were all over the place, right? It's a very decentralized movement. We had close to 800 occupations in the United States alone. Another probably 1,000 worldwide. And each one of them was a special protest, and then each one had a small media team. But by themselves, they were very small. You would have like 3 people in one town, 2 people in another town, and so on, so on, so on. By themselves, it was very hard for them to create a powerful media story because they would go out there, film an action, and then they'll be exhausted, and then it'd be hard for them to write an article and do that and do that. So we started thinking, how do we start combining people so they can start helping each other in a way so that if there's an action happening in one place, people in another place can do background support in terms of writing, research, collecting information, contextualizing, and so on. So this is kind of what this is about. This is an attempt. This came out of months of work, mostly from within Global Revolution Collective, because we were basically every day mixing all this stuff, and we were figuring out what do we need to build to actually go to the next level. So we came up with this whole thing called Occupying the Communications, Occupy the Comms. We built a little website called occupythecomms.cc. It's a prototype of how these collaborative systems should be built. We do not want to create a centralized go-to website, because I think every time you create a only website and so on like that, it's always a problem. It can always be sabotaged. The group that's running it can always be infiltrated, or even humans, when they work together, they get into fights. You don't want to be dependent on one group or one organization. So what we're talking about is a method. So the way we're building the comms, actually, there's a group in comms, if you go there, called development or something like that. And in there is a manual, basically, of how we build the whole site. We want people to build other copies. Now, one of the things we were dealing with when we were building the comms, and we were concerned about, was a lot of us personally who worked at Global Rev were targeted by the government for doing our work. Right? And we don't, we kind of, no one got killed, no one's sitting in jail, so we kind of, got out of it okay. But I think as we go forward, we can see more and more suppression of journalists, especially as these tools become more effective. So we thought it would be really, really cool if the government never knew who is actually in the network. So we spent a lot of time as we were building this thing to create a system where people are basically anonymized. Another thing we were thinking, I'm just going through all the different ideas that went into this set of tools. It's almost like a menu, but they actually all connect. Another thing that we were dealing with is that the fundamental principle of our movement in general is transparency. We don't really hide anything from each other. The meetings we have are usually open. People can participate. So we're trying to figure out a system where we have this transparency of thoughts, ideas, and contributions even, but at the same time we want to protect identity of the participants so they couldn't be prosecuted. So you want maximum transparency on one hand, on the other hand you want maximum security. So you're trying to marry the two. So the solution that we have, so to speak, is when you go to register for this website, it actually asks you for an email, but it's specifically asking people, do not put your real email in there. I mean, we're going to be cleaning that database anyway and populating it with garbage. We're going to be creating fake users in there, so if it ever gets seized, they have just something they can't really use. But in general, don't use your real email. The site is designed in such a way it approves you no matter what you put in. The email is there to stop the spammers, because we had a lot of people who were coming in and trying to sell sunglasses and all that stuff. And it took us a while to figure out how to program the capture code in there. So the first solution was the email, and it kind of stuck in there. We might remove it, but the bottom line is when you register, don't use your real email. Anything with anything at anything works. Computer doesn't verify who you are, anyway, that site. The idea is this. You create an identity in the site, and you start contributing information. Right now, the way we organized it is that you create groups like you do on Facebook, but the groups are actually campaign and action specific. So when you join a group, you're essentially joining a media team for that group. And then the site that we built is basically a collection of tools for collaborative work. The main thing in there is pads. That anyone can edit the pads. And actually, that's the most anonymous part of the site, because once this pad is made, anyone can edit it without ever logging into the site. It's just you can just open that pad, and anyone can edit it. At the same time, the pads are designed in such a way that they automatically make backups of each other to stop people from attacking the pads. Because one of the biggest problems with super open system, they're also open to sabotage. Someone can go and try to erase it and stuff like that. And we had a lot of those problems as we were developing it, so we built a lot of safeguards that you actually, when you use these pads in that system, their backups being taken literally every minute right now and saved. So we can always, in case of an emergency, we can always recover relatively quickly the work that has been done. Because what we found, even though the pads by design have a timeline where you can backtrack and go back and forth, we found a very interesting thing that some hackers, we don't know who they're working for, I think they were professional, they figured out that if you override the pad 30,000 times in a very short amount of time using a computer program, you actually screw up the database on the back end of it, and you can actually erase the pad and erase everyone's work. So this happened actually once when we're having debates on principles of equality, on global revolution and so on. And that's when we actually really got attacked for one. And they were able to erase the pad that everyone was contributing to. So we actually lost once a lot of people's work from like a 5-hour meeting. So that motivated us to start creating a system that cannot be that easy way sabotaged. So anyway, so the whole idea behind the thing is it's not one idea, it's a lot of different ideas together. What we're basically doing is we're stealing every single good thing from everywhere we find in terms of aggregation of information and so on, and embedding it in there. We're designing very little infrastructure on our own. The only infrastructure we're really designing is the communication infrastructure to keep so people can securely. Okay, so people can securely communicate to one another. That part we're sort of working on. Everything else we're pulling from different things. The two fundamental philosophies behind how we want to aggregate media for different actions. One is we want to automate a lot of the stuff that people do manually. Pulling information, refreshing blogs, looking what was released on Twitter, and so on, so on, so on. All of those things, once you know the hashtags, once you know like the main sources, can be automated and automatically organized in one page. The other part that's very important, and that's been missing all along, is context. So for example, the people, I'll give an example. For example, people protesting Walmart. Or the wage issues in Walmart. But there's a lot about the connecting issues at the same time, for example, Walmart. Everything from slave labor in other countries, and so on, so on, so on. We wanted to create a system that various activists from different fields can go in and contribute information that will be used in writing articles, writing media about these actions. So it's not just the coverage of what happened, that people went and protested, but that our media actually has the why, the historical context, and so on. So we wanted to create an open platform that would allow people to very easily and semi-anonymously, basically, go in and contribute information that will be used by journalists to write the stories. So that's like the fundamental thing about this thing. And by the way, what we built is like, this is level 1 prototype. As we start using the system, as we learn more about it, it's going to improve a lot. This is just like, this is basically the alpha version, right? And we hope it's going to evolve. So obviously it's not one person, it's many people. Okay, so this particular thing talks about how this particular slide that we put together, by the way, it's in really bad English. It was written by a Spanish person, and I'm just stealing it, which goes with the philosophy of this project. It's about the whole idea is that information is everyone's. So you should be using other people's information to tell the story. So I didn't write these slides, Mika did. And she actually did the Spanish version, she translated them into English, and she didn't do some words at all, but it's okay. It's a global project. Anyway, the whole idea here is that this is a concept that specifically how it connects media to the movement in general, and how the social movement, how it went into camps, all the West and we're talking about the true conscience, because the whole idea is that we want people to start talking to one another, sharing ideas, exchanging ideas, having debates. For example, the whole idea about consensus is not about consensus per se, but about the process of getting to consensus. It's about taking ideas through this rigorous process of argument, counter-argument, and improvement, and so on. So all of these things combined with the new technology, and we end up with the new collaborative system, so collaborative society. The big thing about all the media centers in our movement from the very beginning was the media center. What was the media center? In Zuccotti, it was the heartbeat of the camp. This is what made the whole thing go. It was right in the center of the camp. All the information went in there, and all the information went out. And what happened in the middle of the media center? It wasn't something magical. It was 10, 20, 30 people sitting there working on laptops, exchanging information, taking all the information in, processing it, debating how to frame it, and then releasing information. And the way the media centers work, by the way, they weren't working by some consensus model. It was everyone. It was a collaborative model. Everyone inside the media center could say anything they wanted. There was one condition: you couldn't speak for the movement. You couldn't speak for anyone else, but you could still tell the story. And this is kind of what drove the media center to citizen journalism. and fundamental ideas of sharing information and collective narrative creation. Same idea about information. That's what I mentioned earlier. The information goes into squares and gets put out outside. That was the role of the physical media center in the camp. And now keep in mind, we're not in camps anymore. We can't occupy public space anymore without getting beaten by the police, without being arrested, without being suppressed. So we need to find an alternative way to start organizing. And obviously connecting all of the stuff that so Occupy the Commons basically is a virtual media center where we can start replicating a lot of the things we had in the camps. We can't replicate everything. We cannot replicate the physical contact people had. That is super important. And people need to understand that this is not a replacement. This is a half replacement. The other half is still going to be, and we're going to talk about it later, because something that we're arguing for right now is people in the local communities need to start organizing local tactical media units. And what we're building, what we're providing here, is to connect all of your tactical media unions together in a huge web, so you can actually start working on narratives together globally. But it's actually very, very hard to be by yourself and just using the website and doing stuff. You're still going to feel disconnected. So there's 2 points to this. There's the tools that we have that allow us to collaborate, but in order to use them well, you still need to form local groups and working together in local communities in order to actually be fully effective. So yeah, the whole point about this virtual media center is it's temporary information. It's real-time temporary information, and the way it works is that anyone can create a group about any campaign. People are free to join the group, and the groups are designed as collection of information, what we like to call real-time press kits. The media center by itself does not publish anything. Members of the media center publish stuff. So the idea is we're creating this media center to organize all this information to enable the people to publish well-informed articles, so they don't have to do too much work. So you go to one of these groups, all the live streams are there. Historical context is there. The live streams are not just there, because live streams take hours to watch. The live streams are hopefully there, and someone else already went through, hopefully, and wrote down what is interesting in each one of the relevant videos, and so on, so on, so on. For example, right now we're using this very heavily in Occupation of Seoul in Madrid. And what people have done is they basically created a complete timeline of everything that happened from the live stream. So you actually have every single moment of the occupation, and people are going through it and underlining like the important things people said at the assemblies, and so on, so on, so on, to again enable people who are writing articles or editing videos to pick the right stuff very quickly and produce coherent narratives. I don't understand. When Nikki comes here, she can explain this slide. I can't do it. I don't know it. Okay. So the whole point is that as we work on all of this stuff, and this is actually very important, if we build a media center, but that media center starts to be used by people to diffuse things which are contrary to what we think is the movement, it's actually going to create a lot of problems. So from the get-go, we're making it very clear that we are working on the consistent set of principles. We're not necessarily going to have consensus and stuff, but if you're going to start using this platform to try to organize groups that advocate things which are racist, which are divided, which violate principles of unity, and so on, then it's going to be a problem, and people should speak up. By the way, this is how democracy works. If you see something violating the principles, it's up to you to speak up to actually change it. Because if we're very complacent about how things are used, nothing is going to get changed. You can't assume someone else is going to speak up and change it for you. You have to speak up yourself and try to organize. But again, you have to be careful between limiting people's freedom and actual true violation of principles. So that's something, and it's something that's going to come up sooner or later. Okay, this is a very interesting slide. This whole idea caused a lot of controversy in a lot of places. One of the problems we've seen in OWS, as well as in 15M, was concentration of media power. Certain individuals found themselves controlling all the social media accounts, was a particular group, and they were not responsive to other members of the movement. They were basically controlling the spigots of how stuff was being diffused. We saw that mostly in the Twitter groups, but this can also apply to people who control the main blogs of the movement, and so on. So it's very important to create a system that's truly decentralized, where every member of the movement can speak to the whole movement and beyond. So you don't have to go through a particular bottleneck in order to have your message heard. If anything else is actually in violation of the principles of our movement to begin with. So this is, again, one of the fundamental principles of how we're building the comps. Everyone is empowered to start these groups, and everyone is empowered to organize people to start diffusion. All right, now we get to the meat of it. We broke down the concept of this method into 3 parts. The first part is acquisition of the material. The second part is actually contextualization and writing the narrative. And the third part is diffusion. And people can plug in various parts of this whole interaction. The acquisition of information. We have live streams, we have tweets, which automatically get pulled in or whatever. And the way we do it is like every action has a hashtag, so we have automatic tools that monitors the hashtags, it pulls in all the videos, photos related to that. And whatever text coming in from, if an action has a blog, and when it pulls in stuff from the blog and updates like that. And these tools can be tailored more and more as we learn to use them better and better to actually create a better automatic real-time representation of what's going on. And the other part in there that's very important is the path. Okay, so the way we talked about it is the paths, the bots, and the chat. The paths are collaborative documents, and I'm going to quickly show you how they work, for those of you that don't know, but anyone can write them at the same time. And they're extremely effective, and quickly, you can have debates in the paths in a much more effective way than you would have in some kind of a chat, because you can actually write complete sentences, people can respond to the complete sentences, and so on. So it allows a very good discussion platform. And it's also an amazing platform to organize all the information. You can put all the links through it for stuff. You can put basically, it's an open canvas to write what needs to be written about what's going on, which allows other people to easily correct it, edit it, highlight it, or respond to it if they disagree, or if there's any kind of controversy. It could be easily highlighted and discussed within the context of the path. The second thing is the bots. What we call the bots, we actually started building bots. We started, because we were very heavy on Global Rep, we were using a chat, we had this chat room we were always working in. And we were spending all our time in it, and that's where all the information coming in. So we started building small programs that were automatically notifying us when like a particular live streamer went live or not. So like right now, we built a program that monitors 700 live streamers around the world. It tells us when they go live and which area they're broadcasting from and so on. Specifically aiming at the people who are mixing real-time stuff. But these bots can actually do pretty sophisticated stuff, and we'll develop it further. These bots are also summarizing what's happening on Twitter. If a particular image, it can automatically now analyze if particular types of tweets have gotten more retweets than others. It gives you a very good idea. Again, this is the real-time analysis engine. And the chat is very important, because if you start creating a group now, and everyone on their phone can talk to everyone else in the group through some kind of a chat system, then this allows you to start coordinating. So the site already has this chat. So the site right now has a chat system, and basically the way it works is also decentralized. You log in, you create an account on the site, and then you can create a chat room, and other people can join in. And that chat room you can make it open or closed. The reason we're making it like the site is all about openness. We actually want people to have ability to have closed chat rooms, so they can discuss, if they're going to discuss operation stuff about their actions, they should be able to have that privacy. But we also want people to be aware that the fundamental principle of how we work is openness and sharing information. So if you have a closed chat for a particular campaign, you probably should have an open one as well in which you put all the information. The chats we put together, they're persistent. So anyone who wants in can go back and read the history of the chats. So and for those of you who look at how chat rooms work, they're actually relatively hard to follow, unfortunately, because there's so many, they get fractured. So the same problem we had with fractured information coming from so many things, you have the same problem with fractured information coming from chats. So that's why you should be using the paths. Okay, so this is how you receive all the information, basically. This would be more. The second part is now contextualization, and this is where this is kind of the new thing. This is what we're really trying to push right now in some ways. We want people to start forming groups for these action groups to actually focusing specifically, and members of these groups, by the way, don't have to be in the place where the actions are taking place. They can be outside, but they're going to work on organizing all the information. When stuff happening, like for example, when I Don't Know More was going on, this is a perfect example. There were actions happening all over the place. And if you were trying to follow it, it was a mess. It was like you had 20 demonstrations all over the country, and it was fragment. You needed IQ of Einstein to understand what was going on. Or maybe that wouldn't be enough. So we need actual people to go in and organize this information in a coherent way so people can follow what's going on. So a big part of it is organizational structure of all this information, with the idea that you're creating this for the commons. It's not ideological. Like, you see, the whole point is information by itself, and organization information can be apolitical. It doesn't really matter what agenda you have. It's just information of what happened, and the whole point is to organize in such a way that everyone else can use it to tell whatever story they want to tell. So we've created, okay. And the third part that's very important is diffusion. And this is also very open to this decentralization, and we're trying to create it now in such a way that people, no one individual, no one small group, can control the power we get this disseminated or not. It was the bane that haunted Occupy from the very beginning, and we need to solve this problem once and for all if we're going to be true to our principles. So the idea of the dissemination model is, again, use the chat rooms that we're creating on the site, use whatever thing to create networks of people that will actually grab the stuff and diffuse it. Because if you have 50 people diffusing a thing, even through their Facebook or through the accounts that they have access to, that could actually be more powerful than 2 or 3 people who control the official movement accounts. And we want to build this up to a point where the official movement accounts controlled by the few become less and less relevant as the crowd takes over and takes over the power and recaptures the power of the diffusing information. So the diffusion group, the idea is the people who will be engaging in these collaborative diffusion groups are going to be hitting everything. They'll be doing blogs, Twitter, Facebook. They're going to, once they start organizing, they can start thinking about diffusion as a holistic problem. So it's not just like, how do we tweet this out? It's like, how do we get the story out? And if you have enough people in there, they can start thinking about how to do it. And you know what? That's exactly how the media center works. So we basically try to replicate the media center structure in a way where more people can plug in who are not physically in the camp, because we don't have camps. And that's it. That's basically the presentation. So now I'm going to show you the site quickly. And then right after that, we're going to have Matt talk a little bit about it. So a lot of the stuff we're talking about is combining different mediums. So what Matt has been doing, as well as we actually have another writer in Spain who's doing this as well very effectively. They're taking the live streams and they're writing an article around it. And then embed a piece of the live stream into the article. So they're basically using the live streams, not necessarily, oh, I'm live right now, let's put this on live. They're using live stream as an acquisition methodology. And the interesting thing about live stream as acquisition methodology is that once you film something in live stream, that it's on the server somewhere right away. We used to be when we used to do media like 10 years ago, we'd have like 10 people running around with cameras, then we'd get together, digitize footage, spend 2 days sorting it out, and so on. We don't have to do that. It's automatic now. It's just there. The only thing we need to do is we need to know what all the pieces are. This is what the site is for, actually. And then once that happens, then you can start doing the work of actually framing the message. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up. How does this work? I have to switch my display. Where's my charger, by the way? Do you have my charger back?
Okay.
Because I'm gonna die. I'm changing the screen.
You want to put State of the Union too.
Who wants to put State of the Union?
SW and Rise.
Tell them that we want to go to the website. Also put it. Gotta mirror this displays. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna this whole workshop is gonna there's 3 parts. I'm gonna present the platform right now. We're almost done with that actually. I'm just gonna show the website, and you guys can figure out. I'm gonna show the key parts of the website. There's a whole manual there. You can go and check it out. We're not gonna spend an hour talking about the website. We're gonna have Matt talk a little bit about his method, which is actually very informative, and then what I would like us to do, at least the people who are interested, is actually break it to a circle and actually figure out how to set up a tactical media unit in New York City right now, so we can actually start plugging into this network. Because the point is, we're going to have a tactical media in New York City. We're setting up one up in Madrid. Other people are going to be setting them up all over the country, all over the world. And once we set them up, we can start really linking them up. Because once you're operating as a working group in your local community, it will be much easier for you to allocate resources to other actions worldwide. So I want to get, second me to close the browser, okay. So occupy the commons C. So again, a few things about the site. The site is hosted right now in Iceland. The reason we picked Iceland is because Iceland has very good laws right now, which makes it feel relatively safe that the service won't be seized under any circumstances. It's in the constitution and so on. That's pretty much the main thing. So we are doing everything we can to protect the anonymity of people who are logging in. We periodically go into the database and add new users to pollute the database with fake users. And we are actively deleting logs as people are logging in. We try to, the less information we track, the safer the system is. Our only problem is that we have been attacked a lot. The site has been attacked quite a few times with now service attacks. So we kind of need to know where they're coming from. So we're keeping a record of connections for a few hours, and then they get rotated. And that's mostly because we need to keep if we're going to be, if someone's going to hit it with a denial of service attack, we need to know where it's coming from so we can block those machines from hitting us to keep the site operational. And it's an ongoing discussion of security versus usability. And as you guys start using this platform, you're going to have a vote and a say in how that's done. We don't know what the right answer is. We don't know what the right mix of this is. Anyway, so registration is pretty simple. You get registered to create an account. And like I said, it asks you for display name, username, and asks you for an email address. Use a fake email address, please. It just makes our life easy, because then we'll have to go through and delete all the Gmails and stuff like that. The less we have to do that, the better. Type in your, whatever, make a password, do the captcha, and you're going to be in. I'm just going to log in as myself right now. And by the way, a lot of the site is accessible without even logging in. I can show that actually before I even log in. If you click on groups, this is our main thing of how we organize. Again, these groups are not operational working groups in the traditional sense of Occupy, like a media working group or whatever. These are specifically focused on different actions. And as you look through the list of the groups, these are actually in alphabetical order. I'm going to click on the newest tab so we can see the latest groups that have been created. You'll see a lot of these groups have very few members. It's just a few people working together. And a lot of them. Some of them have a lot. For example, I don't know more, there were 20 people working on collaborating information. The only difference between being a member of the group and not is that you can add content if you're a member of the group. Everyone can see content, whether you're a member or not. People can see content without ever registering for the comms. So for example, if you look at the I Don't Know More group, what we did there, it's a good example. And we were using it actually much more before. Like I think things have flown off a lot. But this has the two main components actually in it. The first part for every single group is a wiki that's actually curated by the people who started the group. So once you start a working group to coordinate the thing, the first part of the page is this wiki on which you can embed pads, you can embed news, you can embed whatever. The idea is the people who started the group are going to curate all the submitted information and try to organize it at the top for easy and quick reading. So we have this pad which is still loading. I'm going to come back to it. And then we have this thing called automatic scrapping. If I actually make it bigger, you're going to see the whole thing, I think. Let me refresh this page. Okay, yeah, now it's working. All right, so the pad. Here's a pad, and for I Don't Know More, it was very active in January. So you see this, a lot of the stuff is from J11. That was the last huge graph. But it has, this is information was submitted by different users. Like once you go in, I'm not even logged in right now. You can start typing in there, right? That's the whole point. Anyone can go in and start contributing information. So you see a pad where stuff is organized. You want to add stuff to the bottom, go in and add it. And it becomes a fully consistent document. Like this particular document has a list of all the actions that were happening worldwide related to I Don't Know More, with all the Facebook pages and all of the relevant live streams or media connected to all of those actions. This was our attempt to organize a global day of actions, or multiple days of actions that were going on, in such a way that people could actually go to one place and find where everything is. Because otherwise everything was completely fragmented. And the other part that we had, this is the automatic part. There's a tool called Rebel Mouse, rebelmouse.com. This is what we're using right now. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't build that much on our own. We steal a lot. So what we're doing is we're basically embedding a piece of RebelMouse in here where we set up RebelMouse to follow particular hashtags related to I don't know more. What RebelMouse does, which is, and they do a very good job with it, is it goes to Twitter or whatever other news sources you put in, and it automatically pulls out all the videos and all the photos related to that event, not the texts. So you're not seeing all the, like there are a lot of Twitter tools that give you just like all the tweets, and this is a tool that pulls in all the images related to that event. So it's very useful for a real-time media center because you get a real-time, and you also can attach Instagrams and stuff like that to it. It gives you a real-time visual narrative of what's going on, and it's constantly updated. So if you go through I don't know more right now, this is the latest stuff. This is all the stuff that's rated I don't know more, and it has, there's still a lot of I don't know more actions going on, and you can see all the videos and the photos coming in from that. And the cool thing about it just goes on forever. You can go, it will go back to January. The next tool we used is the map, whatever. So these are all things we're basically embedding, and whatever. That's basically the group. The cool thing about the group is that you can go to things like over here. We have group activity, blog, bookmarks, calendar, and so on. If you go to group pages, for example, this is the list of all the paths that were created for I don't know more. This is the live curation and the live streams, commentary, and context. There were 2 paths created at the time. And anyone can create new paths so people can collaborate. If you want to add a link, for example, specific link that goes in, I don't know if people were using it for this group at the time, but group bookmarks, there's no bookmarks. If you log in, I'm going to log in now to show you. This is where you can add stuff. If you log in, you can add a bookmark. And when you add a bookmark, title, an actual bookmark, and commentary. So if there's a link relevant to the event, you go put it in. Then it's going to be up to the curator. Okay, so it's going to appear as the list as activity for that group. So people are going to be seeing it anyway. But it's expected that the curators of the group are going to be able to pull all those bookmarks and arrange them on the top wiki on the top. And the wiki itself is very easy to edit. We have manuals. By the way, when you get to the site, super important, hit on the protocol. I don't know why we call it the protocol. It sounds very official, but it's basically the manual on how to use the site, and it has all of the stuff that I said that went out. If you got the email from me inviting you guys to join us, this was written by one of our editors, and she did an amazing job organizing everything. So definitely read this. And this pretty much goes over the whole 3 stages of how we're going to do media, but it also goes over how to use the site. Getting back to the bookmarks. You can add a bookmark. I don't have a bookmark to add right now, but the idea is this allows you to add any link. The same thing with videos. Like if there's a YouTube video you want to add, there's group videos. You go to group videos, click add a video. And then you just add a video, it'll automatically pull in. If it's a YouTube video, it will automatically pull in the description and everything of the video. And so you have the stuff organized. It's a very, very easy way to pull all the information together. So basically, that's basically what this is. And of course, there's the chat rooms over here. That's the last thing I'm going to show you. And right now, we don't have that many chat rooms. We have the main chat, and like there's not many people using this right now because it's really late in Spain and so on. There only someone actually really active, but they wanted to make it closed to start things out. There's a lot of paranoia in Spain right now about the movement and so on. But the idea is you can create in here. You can create a new chat room. By clicking create chat room, you give it a name, you can make it public, not public, and this is how you're going to use to organize whatever team you want to enter. And all the chat rooms are listed, so you can go in and join them. And those are persistent. That's going to be a record of all the discussion done about how to cover different things. So anyone who goes in can plug in, which is definitely an improvement of the previous chats we had, which were dependent on you actually being there to see what was going on. So the idea of a persistent chat room, in this particular engine, like we're working at decentralizing it so it remains persistent even if there's denial of service attack. And we're soon going to roll out, we're going to be able to just log into these chat rooms from your cell phone. You'll be able to use any Java client, which is program, and so you'll be able to be in the chat room all the time if you want to. This is going to be super efficient for people doing diffusion who want to participate in how things are worded, how things are framed for particular action. Because these chat rooms can also be programmed and that they automatically receive updates for what we call the bots. So the bots can summarize all the information happening and automatically deliver it to the chat room as things go on. And everyone who's involved, they can participate in the decision-making process, how to word it, how to frame it, how to export it. And so this is basically the nutshell of the system. There's only one other thing which we haven't rolled out to the whole site yet, which we created a huge disk drive. It's called disk.occupythecommons.cc. And the way it's a limited resource. It's a big resource. It's a very big disk, but it's still limited. We can't give it right now to all 2,000 people who are using the site. But we're doing it group by group. So if you have a group, you can contact the admins or post that you need an account, and then you're going to have ability, we'll give you an account that gives you ability to add other accounts as you wish. So, and that's only because it's a limited resource. Once we figure out how to have infinite storage, which is actually possible, it involves BitTorrenting the stuff and then moving stuff from like live to archive and so on. Once we do that, we'll be able to create an unlimited disk storage, but that problem hasn't been solved yet. And also, if you know people who want to get involved in developing this stuff with us, we need coders really badly. There's just very few of us, and the people who are coding this thing are not coders, they're media people. We built this thing because we needed a tool to organize, not because none of us had any programming background when we started, so this is how it goes. So anyway, so this is the tool in a nutshell. And now I'm going to give the floor to Matt, who's going to talk about what he has been doing with his blog.
Can I plug this in or see that? No.
We can plug you in if you want.
That's cool. Yeah, that's all I did. Just to show you can see the screen. That's all I did.
And then after this, we'll go to questions, and then we're going to do the next. Before you do, does anybody have questions now before he goes?
I can't get into the site.
OccupyTheCommons.cc?
Yeah.
Here? Not Occupy the Commons. Occupy the Comms. COMMS. Just for people.
COMMS?
Yes, COMMS. So just so people know, the whole point, we created a horrible name for the site on purpose.
Oh, God, what was that? I don't know. No, it popped out.
No, you put the computer here. You put your computer that way. And you can even have my power for it. The point of the Occupy the Comms being called Occupy the Comms is we want people to create alternatives to Occupy the Comms by definition. So we don't want this thing to become the standard. We don't want this thing to become viral in the traditional sense of the world. This is a prototype in which we're going to start playing together, and then different people are going to figure out better ways of doing it and develop better sites. We also probably don't want to, like the people running this site right now, we don't want a full-time job running a site like that for the whole movement.
It looks really, that's probably you plugged in different stuff.
No, it mirrors it exactly.
It looks, no, the screen changed looking. Okay. Hi. How many people here have watched my stream? Okay. If you don't, there's like 4 people and a bunch more. So I'm a live streamer. I've been doing it since December 6th, the first time I ever did it. What?
Can you possibly step back into the light? It's a lot easier. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. First time I ever streamed was December 6th, and I got a lot of views. Did this be live stream, by the way, or no?
This is being live stream. This is what we're at.
Already, okay. So, as Vlad was saying earlier, as he was saying earlier, boss?
You're blocking the...
Sorry, okay, what is it? Is this alright?
That's no. Well, just maybe back a little. Just don't block the... because you can't see what you're talking about.
I'm not talking about this yet.
Oh.
Anyway, after a while of streaming, I noticed that there's a certain downside to streaming. The benefits, of course, are much larger archive. You don't have to worry about changing tapes. You also don't have to worry about a police officer, if you're feeling brutality, smashing your shit. You don't have it anymore. You have a much larger archive, as I said, and you have the novelty of someone watching in real time, and they can blast it out, tell their friends, and it gets frenzy, whatever. Problem is, the drawback there is someone has to be watching at that moment to see it. If they're not watching at that moment, you're pretty much just watching a glorified archive on YouTube and someone on another site. That's pretty much all it is, which is not a bad thing, but still. So after a while, when I went to the DNC, I was encouraged to start blogging on stuff and writing about it, and just because it's more content to put out and it's more people saying stuff and whatever. So I started doing that. I realized it was a lot of fun, and then I also started realizing a way to draw more attention to my stream and get more people interested in my stream, and at the same time expanding on the stream, is by doing a blog on it. So I started, basically what I did was I started writing on stuff, and then I started highlighting things. Here's my list. Here's one thing of highlights there. I've basically what I do to highlight them. That's a list of the highlights right here. They're titled very simply, just see what's going on, and that's if you go to this highlight itself, that's what you'll end up. That's what it's going to be entitled as. Hold on. Now, if you want to do a highlight, it's very simple actually. You have this whole video here, and say for example, this is on the recent Union Action, I'll click on it quickly. I'm not sure if it's going to be any sound here, but it doesn't matter. See it's going, and yeah, so that's one of the videos basically there. Go backward here. Okay. If you want to, what I normally do is, because it's easier for me to highlight stuff in this section as opposed to just on the main site. When you're not logged into the site and it's not your footage, like it's not under your name, you highlight it through like a little thing under the main thing that I just showed you. Here though, it's much easier to do it. Clicking on this button here, the play button there, the video shows up the same way. You can watch through it like this, and then you see. I usually note the time marks at that point. See what the time mark is over there. I note through it on a piece of paper separately, and then in bulk later on, click on this. You have upload to YouTube or highlight. YouTube won't let me upload things longer than 15 minutes, as I noticed. On the spot, I have to upload it separately, which I have done. You have to upload it separately. In this case, what I normally do is also to draw more attention to my stream, because as I said, if I'm live, I often get I might get maybe 20, 25 people unless the action is really big. Like for this, I don't think I got many more than like 30 people watching, but also I might be broadcast on Global Rev or any other site with stream capping me that knows that I'm live. So, in order to draw more attention to my stream, what I do is click highlight here, just for example. I'm not going to make one, but click highlight here. You just move these over a little bit, title the thing, and you click save, and you have a highlight created. I'm not going to move that over there. You see it moves. That's 420. That was really ironic. I'm making 640 just for PC reasons. Make a highlight there, and then when someone wants to go to that highlight, they just click on the button. The highlight would show up in the highlight section over here. Click on it, and it goes to a select spot in the stream that I just bracketed. It's not its own clip. It's a highlight in the clip. That has to be understood. It's not like you're cutting it down and reposting it. You're just telling the Ustream software, I want to show only this side from this point to this point, and you move on with it. Now, when I do that, the other thing that I do is I'll just find this one works. Okay, view this one. This is what I just did for a fracking action in Albany, which by the way, Cuomo just postponed signing it, so cool. Keep action on that. Thank God. I don't want my water getting fucked with. What's it called? This is one of the blogs I wrote. I usually start off just by saying I sort of copied the basic news media way they do it, like who, what, when, where, why, how in the starting sentence. Cuomo's the who. You can probably figure that out. I'm not going to bother. That's like too long. You're smarter than that. Basically, who, what, when, why, how, and then do a breakdown on things. Over here, I click a link to another action. That's another blog I did. Also, as I'm at a reaction, because I noticed the live streamer Occupy Eye often taking photos and tweeting out his photos as he's doing it to draw people to his live stream. Instead of really tweeting it out because it's a pain in the ass to keep doing that, to keep tweeting out photos, because I prefer to tweet out my blog. I prefer to tweet out my my stream as opposed to a photo of the stream. I'll do a few photos here and there, but in general it's more fun to tweet out the actual stream because then they can actually watch what's going on. Anyway, you have these photos here, and I have two phones walking around all the time. I stream with an iPhone 4S usually. This is the other phone. And I save them all, and then when I get home later on, I upload them all to the stream, to the blogging site, which is what you're on right now. And then I put them in slowly here and there just to enhance the words. Here is what's it called? This is I'm going to show you a clip, one of the highlighted clips. Scroll down to here. Match to YouTube. 1 second. Here is no, that's not more YouTube. Here we go. This is footage from This is footage that I highlighted. This is how it comes up. Click on that, open a new window, and put the title there, Hold on. Yeah, stupid advertisements. Here you go. I had a 3G signal there, which is why the feed looks like that, but this is to amplify what I'm saying. Like, you can go to any site and you can always, reading is always cool. But at the same time, you have to realize, people don't like to read shit. There's a limit to how much they like to read. They just don't fucking like to read it. It's boring and it requires thought. Most people don't like fucking doing that. So, giving a video instead to amplify what you're already saying. Say a little thing about it, expose a little bit, give some more opinion on it, and then show them the video, they can see what happened. And, as people have said before, when they're watching a live stream, they say, wow, I feel like I'm actually there. Okay, so amplify the article you write with the actual footage. Makes it more fun. So in addition to having a few photos there, you can also have a live stream there, and it makes it much more engaging for the reader. I also have links here to my YouTube channel. For example, this is YouTube channel of everyone chanting "Not One Well" after the hearing ended. This is 1 second. And I also always do that too. That's not good. Why isn't it playing? Whatever.
Slower the quality of it, like 240?
No, it usually plays immediately. I think it's possibly yeah, here we go. It's playing now. Okay. This is alright, the connection here is weak. Alright, so I upload everything there, and then I upload a few photos. I've uploaded a few things there because the stream wasn't very good in the meeting area, but it's just to amplify everything to make it more interesting for the reader to watch. They might not watch it, but if they want to, they can, and they get a whole idea. They get another perspective on things. And later on in this march, for example, here's one photo really comes in handy. This is a photo right here of the whole group on the stairs protesting. It looks really goddamn cool. It's more interesting than just writing about stuff. I mean, you could write about there was a massive crowd on the stairs. They were totally exuberant, whatever. It doesn't have the same meaning as that shit. You see a whole crowd of people on the stairs. It's a powerful image. Go even further down, and you have that image, for example. This one right here. It says a lot. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of support and activism. It makes a statement. Now, they also did a lot of speeches at this point in the rally, for example. What I did here was I broke down and highlighted each speech. This is, hold on, I'll go to this one. This one comes up. I have 3G signal here again, but I broke down each one. By the way, this process is extremely time-consuming, unfortunately. This is Sarah Steingraber, an environmental activist, speaking right now, and she's explaining about fracking and her experiences and whatever else. And her experiences also how she related to her past dealing with the AIDS virus when the AIDS epidemic first came out. I highlighted, it's a 4-minute clip. We were up there, we were probably in the steps for about half hour roughly. 4-minute clip, there were several people speaking. I have highlights of each person speaking. It breaks it down a lot, and if people don't want to watch each one, not a big deal. But you have the option to watch it now at least. My feeling is give people as many options as they can. If they don't want to do it, they don't have to, but at least the option's there, so I don't have to take any shit for it. When the statement that someone's saying is good, it's really time-consuming again, but I transcribed the entire thing here. This is pretty much the bullet points of everything that she said in her speech. Yeah, there's a lot of the speakers there. That's pretty much that issue. And so basically, yeah, it all comes down to oh, there's one more thing. Sorry. What's it called? When where is it? This no that one. 1 second. This one. In this article, I felt it was an important aspect of the post itself to include the idea of explaining what fracking is, because I think most people probably don't know that they know that they've heard fracking is bad, or they've heard very little things about it. There's really a lot of issues they don't actually know about fracking at all. So, I went to the whole trouble explaining this. I also did one on explaining the whole history of corporate personhood during the corporate marriage on the federal steps. So here, and when I'm doing that, it's best to, when you're going to explain the history of something, always link stuff to more reputable sites. That way you're not full of shit, and that way no one can accuse you of that. For example, I linked here to see someone criticize me for referencing the National Wildlife Federation. And see, and I mean, you can, if I reference like some other, like it's an official organization. Reference that, and no one can really criticize what you're saying at all for that. I mean, no one can really dispute it because the facts are there and it's more official, whatever. And I just have a lot of videos to bring everything together. But in general, when I'm going to reference something, and I often have referenced mainstream news as well, because mainstream news, the bigger the name, unfortunately, often the bigger the name, the more reputable it seems. So I've often referenced ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, because opinions are different, facts don't change usually. Is this making sense to everyone?
Right.
Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Alright. Is it helpful? Cool. Okay. That's basically how I'm doing that. It's unfortunately the problem is it's time consuming. I've stayed up and it destroyed my sleep schedule entirely. So that's pretty much all there is to that. I have a few drafts waiting there because I'm going to be putting those up soon because I want to get, I'm backed up. But in general, that's pretty much how I've been doing it so far. Any questions at all from anyone? Yes, go.
A couple. So first of all, I noticed you're doing this on Ustream.
Yes.
Is it possible to do this on other live streaming sites as well?
I actually haven't tried highlighting, but I know other streaming sites are Livestream, Bambuser. I think you can even stream on YouTube now. But I've only done Ustream mostly because I've been using it for a while and I'm well acquainted with the site pretty much. Yes?
Also, did you say that anyone can add these highlights to anyone's stream?
1 second. Yeah. Hold on. Not that one. Go to this one. So I'm going to log out, for example, right now. Log out here. I'm logging out of my own YouTube site. So now when I go to my YouTube site, I'm going to show you how you can make a highlight on it. And then it's not the same way. And also, there's an issue with them, but they're still working out. The video is automatically saving to Ustream. However, when I click Save the Video, it seems to be doubling it. Which is not a big deal, but still, that's kind of what's happening. So, that's, hold on 1 second again here. Alright, hold on a minute. The flag, okay, no. I'm going to click on this video just randomly, for example. It's the first one up there. Okay. Now, notice I'm not in the site right now as a user for it. I'm using it as the not the owner. I'm not in the site under my username. I'm just there as a casual viewer. If you want to create a highlight as someone who's just a casual viewer, and I don't know if you can do this when you're streaming because I pretty much rarely ever watch streams. I'm always streaming. Pretty much, you have to have your own name. You have to have your own username on Ustream, but to create a highlight, you have to have your own username, but you don't actually have to be on your account. You have to be on your account, but you don't have to be in your channel to create the highlight. And so you can create a channel in someone else's channel.
You have to be logged in.
Yes. You can do it there. The only reason I went to the other place was because sometimes videos are broken up because there might be issues with the feed, and Ustream has tried to fix that by breaking the feed up in two so that the audio and video sync up better. And it often works when it does that. But because I want to do that, I have 2 videos of the same shit, and there's no reason to have extra space taken up on their archives. So and it's a waste of, and it's extra things to go through when I'm looking to highlight something. So I go through the other way, but you can highlight this way.
So let me jump in here for 1 second.
And also, if anyone is watching my stream and wants to highlight something, they're welcome to do it if it helps, because I could possibly use it later on.
So let me just jump in. So hold it before we go to the next thing. So in the context of the comm system, it's all focused on pads, right? So you can put the highlights into the pads for people to start reading it. This is the whole thing. So like, this is one streamer, one participant, so to speak, putting out content. And what's happening with Stopwatch So, he's not doing all the work himself. And that means like he's in the middle of explaining his process. So he's not talking about the process, he hasn't done the vlog yet. But he's basically doing the whole process that could potentially be done by 4 or 5 people at the same time. And this is important what I get to. So anyway, that was my only interjection.
Yes, I'm actually kind of almost done at this point. What's it called? I would welcome, obviously I would be looking over the clip to see if it fits into what I'm going to say about what the action was, but anyone who wants to submit information writing, if you're going to submit facts, I need the sources to back them up. I'm not just going to put random facts up there. If you have sources to back it up, and the more official even the better, just not Fox News. Sorry. And the more official the better, and I just need to back it up. And if it's good, I wouldn't mind putting it in there. And if you want, I'll reference your name. I don't mind doing that either. It'll make it easier for me to get it out sooner. And also, if you have a clip that you've highlighted that I like, I'm like, okay, sure, I'll use it, whatever. It's my site, but I have no problem working with other people to help make it better or get it out faster. Obviously, though, I will be doing quality control to make sure I'm happy with everything and to make sure it fits me to whatever I want to say about it. Yeah. Like, for example, if we're on an action where if there's a march going on, and the march is against, like, if the march is for healthcare, and for some reason they end up arresting 15 people, I'm not going to show all 15 arrests in the highlights, in the blog. I might show 1 or 2 to show what happened, but after a while, 15 is like, okay, we don't need this. No one needs to see all 15. So, yeah, so it wouldn't necessarily fit into the narrative doing that, but I might show 1 or 2. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say on this.
The blogs?
What?
Did you go over how you make the blogs?
Yeah, I said it before.
All right, so now I think okay, so here's an example of a particular workflow which kind of covers everything, more or less what we do. The most viral thing we can make right now in general are articles with embedded videos. Because that's what people can read on their phones, this is what they can read on their iPads, this is what they can like on the way to work, and so on. And this is what will solve the problem that so much information comes out from live streams and so little of it is seen. And to do this, here's the thing. Matt is capable. Matt works on this almost full time. He's dedicating his life to it, and he literally is. I mean, I've seen him work, and in spite of everything he does, he's still only capable of producing maybe 2 stories a week. And there's so many things that are going on. So the reality is, the only way we can actually do this on the full, get the full enchilada, is if we actually get a lot of people involved. The tools we're building, or the tools we already have, allows anyone to plug in. So anyone who is watching this workshop right now, on the live stream or whatever, if you go to the comms, you can plug in, and once the chat rooms are being set up right now, or you can set up your own, whatever, you can start coordinating who does what, when. And the point is, it's very important that when the live streams of actions happen, that people go through and make highlights. On Ustream, you can make highlights directly from the video. And by the way, that's buggy as hell. Sometimes people can't make highlights. It's constant problems with that. Another thing you can do, which is much easier, is in the pad, say this particular link is this particular video. At this particular time, this happens. That's usually enough for a video editor to go through and be able to identify the good things. We want to create a situation that the video editors who are going to edit videos of this don't have to watch every single live stream from beginning to end. It takes too long. If you have 2 live streamers or 3 live streamers for an action, to make an editor watch 12 hours of footage to produce a video means you're delaying the whole process by at least a day. And beyond that, you burn people out, so they won't be able to do this on a consistent basis. If on the other hand, we crowdsource this work, and some people analyze some of this video beforehand and present it so other people can quickly cut it, then it becomes much easier. Then the editor can go in and spend an hour, crank out a piece, and just move on. And it stops being such a drain on the individual resources. All right, so does anyone have any questions about anything? Either in the chat room or whatever. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm wondering about the groups, because I'm really looking I'm looking in detail.
Come on here.
Yeah,
It's gonna
okay.
be on the screen.
Sure. So I'm really thinking about, like, practically how do we use Occupy the Commons to produce news on a daily basis, all right? And I'm looking at the groups and I'm really wondering, like, how free I should feel to start a group about a particular issue, a particular action, whatever.
That's the way to use the site right now.
Yes. So real life example. Let's say we have a fracking action coming. Do we just go to a group that's already started about fracking?
Sure.
And then put it in there?
Well, it depends. If you know who started it, and they can make you admin so you can start editing the wiki, do that. If you can't get in touch with the person who started it, maybe someone started a group like 4 months ago, and it's not active anymore, whatever. Start a new one. It doesn't matter, because it's all about, and then if you read the manual, you figure out how to set up the Rebel mouse and all the tools to create real-time stuff. And you also don't want to create, you probably don't want to create a group for one-day action. It's a longer-term campaign. Because the idea here is to have people contribute information that's historical, links to scientific research, links to economical impacts on the community, all of the stuff that needs to be inserted into the coverage. Because what's happening is right now, the weakness of our media is that we're reporting what happened. We're reporting that people went and protested. We're not reporting enough on the actual story behind it. And we need to be incorporating that. So the whole exercise is about connecting the story behind with what's happening now. We want to be delivering real-time news, contextualized, with all of the history, all of the thoughts, and we want to be able to tap into the greater community, because there are a lot of people who are experts on economical things, a lot of people who are experts on the political things, and so on. We want to be able to take all of their knowledge and combine it so the writers can actually sit down and start putting out this content, incorporating all of this information. So in your case, there's two things you can do.
You're going to decide again, sorry.
Okay.
That's actually it.
No, that was just him disconnecting. So, okay, I want to give an example. This is in Global Rev, as we were using this tool, Occupy the Commons. What we do, there's a group on comms called Global Rev Live. You can find it. Type in Global Rev Live, you're going to have a lot of things come up. If you scroll to the bottom of the search, you're going to see a group, Global Rev Live. If you go to that group and you actually click on group pages, you're going to see the paths that were created in that group. And what we're actually doing is we're creating a day, not every day, but like every few days, we're creating a new path. And that was the news path for that day. And that basically, what went in there, links to all the videos that need to be covered, debates in there how to cover it, figuring out, and so on. So for the purposes of what you're trying to do, you can either use the Global Rep path, because it's pretty much the same, we're all covering the same thing, or if you have, like, I think at the end of the meeting, we're going to have a working group set up out of all the people here. You can set up your own group and then start putting out paths and bringing people in. But at this point, we're relatively new. You're more than free to use the Global Ride group. Just join it. And so once you join the group, you can have tabs. The only thing that change is the wiki.
So you have a daily pad in which you discuss all the stories that you're interested in covering?
It's daily pad in which we put in like what happened.
From Maryland, Mr. Hoyer.
History, and whatever context people can put in.
Gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Flyber.
Because I'm wondering
The
about
gentleman from
keeping
California,
track.
Mr.
Like, how do we
Becerra.
keep track of what stories
Gentleman from New York,
are
Mr.
still
Crowley.
fresh?
That's why we make
Gentleman from New York, Mr. Israel.
And the other
The
stuff
gentlewoman from Illinois, Ms. Duckworth.
Go back to that. And then, so the reality is that Global Rep makes it
President of the
happen.
Senate, at the direction of that body, appoints the following senators as members of the committee on the part of the Senate to support the President of the United States and of the Chamber. The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed. The Senator from Vermont, Mr. Leahy. The Senator from Illinois, Mr. Durbin. The Senator from New York, Mr. Schumer. The Senator from Washington, Ms. Murray. The Senator from Colorado, Mr. Bennett. The Senator from Michigan, Ms. Stabenow. The Senator from Alaska, Mr. Bacon. The Senator from Kentucky, Mr. McConnell. The Senator from Texas, Mr. Cornyn. The Senator from South Dakota, Mr. Thune. The Senator from Missouri, Mr. Blunt. The Senator from Wyoming, Mr. Barrasso. And the Senator from Kansas, Mr. Moran.
The members of the ESCOR committee will exit through the chamber doors to the lobby.
Versus a completely virtual thing. And as things mature, as this platform matures, it's going to become less of a problem. But right now what we found is that groups get started, people sign up for them, and they don't contribute anything for a while. So you will see in the comments actually a lot of dead groups. And this is something that we need to address. But in the end of the day, given where we are right now, we need to keep well-functioning groups, putting stuff out, or focusing on things. And then once you set up that group on a particular issue, then it's up to you to go reach out to the experts on that issue and ask them to give you links or go themselves put links in for that stuff. And that's why this started in Spain right now with the latest occupational assault. People started doing that. I'm not going to pull it up right now, but if you...
Mr. Speaker, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps.
There's a pad there on corruption. It was contributed by, I think 50 people contributed that pad, but they basically when they found, I don't know if they found every politician that's corrupt, but they probably found a good 400 or 500, and they put in all of the information backing evidence of how corrupt they are. There's an amazing crowdsourced document that actually puts together, so anyone who wants to write about the corruption of the government now in Spain, there's a great resource. The encyclopedia is there. Just go and pick what you want to write about. So this is, again, a good example of how this can work. So anyway, so people here, there's a lot of media people here. Even Barbara from Time's Up showed up. We would like to form today a new working group that's actually going to start doing media and collaborating on different issues. Ideally, we'll have people from different areas. So for example, Barbara works very close with Time's Up Collective, which does a lot of. Well, Time's Up actually has a great history. They were the champions of freedom of right to assembly long before Occupy existed. And they were on the forefront of the city was trying to shut down critical mass bike rides for political reasons, and they were the only ones who actually really fought back and kept it going for a long time. And that's how I know Barbara. We worked for years together on trying to keep the streets free. But the idea is, right now, we tried to have a meeting like this like 6 months ago, but people didn't stay in contact. Now there's a website where you can stay in contact in. So my suggestion is right now, start a group that's, let's say, New York City media or whatever, and start collaborating within that group. Start putting, so all the actions that are happening in New York, because one of the main features about this media platform is this is a way to unite the movement. Because we've become very dispersed. A lot of us are talking about different issues all over the place. The principles, the ideas are actually completely the same across all of those things. But we're still working separately, we're not talking to each other, we're not sharing resources, we're not helping each other enough. So let's figure out, and this is where it's not a lecture, this is a workshop. This is the workshop part now. How can we actually form a group that where people can start collaborating and helping each other out to actually become stronger? So I don't know, we'll make a big circle and just like people can introduce themselves and like we can get rolling and someone can moderate.
Circles are good.
Yeah, fine, let's do it.
Mr. Speaker, the President's Cabinet.